Hi, my name is Amy Finley, and this is baby Kian. And together we are going to do a little show on having a happy baby, as much as one can have. You know, of course, the first thing a lot of people will tell you, and it's good to know, is, there is a bit of genetics in the mix, and, roll of the dice, you might have a colicky kid. These tips will help. They will also help people, any child. I've had a lot of people comment over the months with Kian and also with my first daughter, commented on the calmness of my child, and so that's the impetus. That's my qualifications, and just having been through 2 kids. Okay, so here's my tips for having an easy baby. My number 1 tip are some soothing techniques that I got, bless you, from Dr. Harvey Karp. He has a really great DVD, also a book, but I love the DVD because you can watch him use these soothing techniques on babies. And I'll do I'll skim over them. It's worth getting the DVD for the in-depth overview of them, but his tips, he's got 5 of them. He calls them the 5 S's. Swaddling, that is number 1, and it is kind of the first and ultimate soothing thing to do. It might not get your baby to stop crying. In fact, they might get more upset when you swaddle them. That's just basically getting their arms down by their sides in a way they can't wiggle out. I really like the Velcro wraps that they sell for that. And you don't have to really worry about the legs. It's all about the arms. So swaddling is the baseline for keeping a baby from upsetting themselves further, because when they're just out of the womb, they're used to confinement, and when they're really young infants, they flail about and are like, what's going on? This is really foreign to me, and they kind of freak out. Understandably, it's very different. So I think most of the soothing techniques are very womb mimicking for a good reason. So we've got the swaddling, we've got the shushing, that's another S, and it's making a loud ambient sound right into the baby's ear, like shh, like that. I still use that on him. He's 7 months. It still calms him. I don't use the swaddling so much. A little bit though. I'll hold his arms down if he's fussing while I'm nursing. I'll just kind of confine him a bit, and that still soothes him actually a little bit. So shushing, and you can use, some people swear by like the vacuum cleaner or other loud noises just running to soothe their child. I'm a big fan of direct shushing, and then any ambient sound you can come up with, like white noise machines. Little white noise things for kids are great. Put it in their bedroom even. And it also masks the clanging of daily household noises to help them sleep better. And swaddling, by the way, to backtrack, speaking of sleep, in my experience, Dr. Karp says this, and in my experience, it's true that a child will very often sleep 2 hours longer than they will without, on average, without the swaddle, than they will without the swaddle. So again, swaddling, shushing, and shushing is like when they're actively upset, it will often calm them, and then the swaddle will keep them calm, hopefully. And if those don't work, the next S is what he calls swinging. It's just a S sound to help you remember, basically a jiggling motion. And really you want the head to jiggle, kind of like he's doing right now. He's of course sitting upright. I should try to, I don't want to disturb him because he's so happy right now, but basically, often you'll have the child on their side. Okay, let's do it, Kian. Ready? This is these are infant techniques. These aren't so much 7-month-old techniques, but you're going to cooperate, right? Hopefully you won't cry. That would be pretty ironic. He's like, what? I haven't done this in a while. Okay, so here's the side position. He's on his side, slightly lean forward. That angle is a kind of a precise thing for kids. This is a side position, one of the S's. And swinging in the side position would just be like this, getting the head to jiggle. And that's another amazing soothing technique. These are all, Dr. Karp says, there's actually, it's been discovered there's a reflex, a calming reflex in our brains that, you know, or wherever reflexes reside, just like hitting the knee and your leg kicks out, you know, these techniques can trigger instant calm. And I found it does work like that. And what was the last S? Can I remember? Swinging, swaddling, shushing, side position, and, oh, of course, sucking. Number one for many moms, you know, just latch them on and they're good. But it's good to know that actually it's just this act of sucking, which can be mimicked by dads. Just put your finger in with, you know, short nail is obviously a good idea. Your finger, or give them a pacifier or a bottle if that's what you're using. That act of sucking can trigger the calming reflex. So those are just knowing these skills. Again, get the DVD if you really want to kind of drive it home, see the demonstrations of all these and see how amazing it is to watch a screaming child just go instantly calm with using these techniques. So those are great. 5 S's, Harvey Karp's Happiest Baby on the Block DVD. And then my last tip for a happy baby is, this is it sounds a little esoteric, but I feel like it's been really practical knowledge for me, is just knowing the knowledge of a communication that happens between mom or any two people that, or beings that love each other. This sort of loving connection, and kind of to being able to tune into it and feel your way into a kind of a communication. My sense about it is that, and my understanding is that we all communicate non-verbally from the very beginning, and it makes sense. It just makes sense that we, you know, when we don't have the ability for language yet, that we would have other means of communicating and learning language. I feel like I think is very much informed by the initial ability to sense what somebody's trying to communicate to you. And I'm sure most people, if they think about it, have had these experiences. I think our culture tends to downplay the reality of them. But it's my firm belief that I guess what you'd call telepathy is just a norm among all beings, including animals, that happens all the time, and that you are probably doing it all the time without necessarily calling it. So that knowledge, the knowledge that it happens, it's a useful thing to know as a parent. I mean, on a very practical example is with my daughter. After I put her down, she'd be in her crib just fine, and then sometimes she'd start to cry out of nowhere. And I noticed that almost always it was in conjunction with whatever I was thinking about at that moment. If my thinking was sort of disturbed or negative, strongly negative, she'd pick up on it and she'd start crying in the middle of the night. And so that knowledge was actually quite useful, because I found that just by changing my thinking, changing what I was thinking about, very often, in fact most of the time, was the thing that calmed her. There you go. So that's why I drive this point home, because in my experience, it's very practical knowledge and perspective. And so, 5 S's and intuitive communication. And, of course, the number one communication is, I love you, honey. We do that without even saying it. And we do it all the time already. I'm sure you do it. And it goes a long way. And congratulations if you have a new one. I hope these are useful tips for you. Bye-bye.